Hello, my name is Erika Chagin, and I am going to be discussing what the key component of a good life is. We must first examine the derivation of the opposite, the most severe agony one can feel. Throughout history and across religious borders, hell has always been the ultimate punishment, the ultimate worst state of being, the ultimate doom. But what does hell consist of? The knowledge of one's inability to ever fulfill one's deepest desire, in this case, connection with God. Regardless of religious belief, we can agree that this restriction to fulfill one's deepest desire, whether it be connection with God or something more atheistic and mortal, such as sexual, romantic, intellectual, professional, or success-driven fulfillment, has always been the most condemning sort of punishment and pain one may feel since biblical age. In today's world, this is evident in our prison system. Outside of capital punishment, our most intense form of legal punishment is imprisonment. Being restrained from one's most animalistic, biological desires, such as the want for freedom, exposure to the outdoors, love, family, relationships, success, and sex. Described by author and philosopher Albert Camus, this prison, this restraint from one's deepest desires, and the knowledge of this restraint, of the impossibility of ever fulfilling one's desires, is only prison, only punitive, if one's mentality remains unfulfilled. If a prisoner has no inclination towards these typical desires and finds enjoyment in a prison cell, prison is no longer penal. If one finds mental satisfaction, devoid of desire, and can find happiness and fulfillment within oneself and current surroundings, they will be at peace and no longer feel imprisonment as negative. Such is the case with hell, as established by Dante's Divine Comedy. Hell is not hell if the incarcerated is fulfilled, as Sisyphus relishes the eternal rolling of a massive boulder, if a prisoner delights her cell. Agony of the human soul derives from unfulfillment of deepest, most quintessential human desires. Though connection with God is historically and theistically understood to be the most universal human desire, in modern life we can generalize and simplify this to mean the desire for a deeper purpose or meaning, as well as basic biological desires and each person's individual desires. This idea of to each his own, meaning each person facing unique personal hells, different ideas of imprisonment, and different levels of contentment can be traced back to Nietzsche. Though he would not have supported the idea of the literal hell described in Abrahamic religions, he most certainly agrees that each person's punishments and fate solely depend on their mindset alone. He stated, "No one can construct for you the bridge upon which precisely you must cross the stream of life. No one but you yourself alone." Meaning only you can decide your fate. Only your mindset can make jail time penal and miserable. And on the flip side, only your mindset can dictate a good life. We can use this understanding of mankind's worst possible punishment to understand the contrary, mankind's best possible lifestyle. If the absolute worst feeling one can experience is being deprived of fulfillment, and knowing there is no possible way to seek it, then the best possible lifestyle revolves around attaining fulfillment and staying hopeful. Attaining fulfillment of one's desires means living a life without want, devoid of craving and urge. For most, this is nearly impossible, seeing as how, biologically, humans are ingrained with desires in order to have offspring, satisfy hunger, and encourage progress. Of course, it is natural and beneficial to have desire. We need to motivate ourselves and push us forward. In order to live well, though, we must identify these desires but maintain satisfaction with our current state of being, even if what we most desire is not yet attained. A healthy balance is necessary. We need a driving force to promise advancement, but an internal peace to sustain mental wellness and happiness. The challenge is to keep these desires at bay, to identify and pursue, but not overwhelmingly. We do not want to completely inhibit desire, as this would result in a total lack of motivation. and progression, but seek to fulfill these desires in a healthy manner while keeping a sense of peace and contentment. I've witnessed this to an amazing extent at temple. The Anis, Buddhist nuns, and Lamas, Buddhist priests, exhibit the most beautiful contentment I have seen. They follow their sole desire in life, to achieve Buddhahood, the state of ultimate inner peace, exemplified by Buddha, empty of desire and completely fulfilled. These women give up trivial desires to fit in or show off, such as long hair, makeup, extravagant housing, and other material desires. They have found a way to achieve satisfaction independently, without depending on others' consistent reliability or material items, because they know at the end, the only resource you can depend on constantly is yourself. During temple, they repeatedly preach, if there is no breath, it is of no value, meaning you should care for and respect all living creatures, but disregard the stuff we fill our lives with. This is a perfect example of following a motivation meant to benefit your future, achieving Buddhahood, an eternal state of internal peace and satisfaction, but remaining fulfilled with your current state. I will always admire the clergy of the Buddhist faith for achieving something inconceivable to most. How do we achieve this in our own lives? It is not rational to suggest everyone shave their heads and move into monasteries. Instead, we can live a happy life by working diligently at preparing for a successful and fulfilled future. We can do this by monitoring daily actions. Do what is necessary to set up for success later on. Personally, I try to do this, pursue only what is vital for later fulfillment on a regular basis. In the future, I would like to enjoy such luxuries as romantic, financial, educational, and most of all, self-fulfillment. I want to be satisfied with myself and my life. I try to guarantee this by studying hard to get good grades, therefore increasing my chances of being accepted into a good college, accepted into the medical community, and making a difference in hundreds of people's lives. I try to avoid time consumers that would not benefit my future or add to my current morale, such as unnecessary and unhelpful extra burdens. I don't mean to say only apply yourself to the bare minimum, but only apply to yourself to activities that increase your current state of happiness without impeding on your future, and activities that increase your chance of a fulfilled life for the future. On a smaller scale, I try to optimize my weekly schedule to be as time efficient as possible. I try to complete my homework in the car or at lunch, benefiting the near future of later that night when I would rather be increasing my morale by watching Netflix or talking to my friends. Rather than solely seeking for temporary happiness and skipping my homework to jump straight to Netflix, I understand I must balance fulfilling my current state of happiness with a temporary struggle I know will benefit my future and therefore enhance long-term happiness. And rather than suffering through mandatory work, I try to find enjoyment. Recently, I have noticed I have taken a liking to tasks others might dread and even look forward to doing geometry homework. I agree with Epicurus that happiness is man's greatest aim in life, and happiness can be only achieved by feeling fulfilled and content with your current stance. We should try our best to accept both positive and negative attributes of our daily lives and feel fulfilled where we are at. Utilize your predisposed desires to your favor and use them to propel you to greatness. You should be able to reflect on your life and feel satisfied and fulfilled with yourself and your achievements.